Did you know that over 90% of people believe that strong communication skills are key to career success? Yet, many of us never truly learn how to harness the full power of our words. Rhetoric, the art of persuasion, isn't just for politicians or famous speakers, it's a skill you use every day, often without even realizing it. Imagine this: you have just 7 seconds to make a first impression. That's all it takes for someone to decide whether they trust you or not. Shockingly, research shows that over 55% of our initial judgments come from nonverbal cues, things like your body language and eye contact. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it. In this video, we're diving deep into the world of rhetoric. We'll explore how to use powerful language to captivate and influence, understand the psychological tricks that make your message stick, and uncover the secrets of nonverbal communication. Plus, you'll learn how to apply these techniques in everyday situations to get what you want and build stronger relationships. Ready to transform your speaking skills and become a more persuasive communicator? Let's get started. Chapter 1: The Ancient Art, Rhetoric's Hidden Roots. Rhetoric isn't just about using fancy words. It's a skill that dates back over 2,000 years. Ancient Greeks, like Aristotle, believed rhetoric was essential for anyone who wanted to influence others. Aristotle even called it the faculty of observing in any given case the available means of persuasion. In simple terms, rhetoric is about finding the best way to persuade someone, no matter the situation. But why should you care about something so old? Well, because these techniques are still powerful today. Think of it like this: just as a good recipe stands the test of time, so do the fundamentals of rhetoric. For example, the concept of ethos, building credibility, is something we use daily, whether we realize it or not. Did you know that in ancient Greece, speakers would even dress a certain way to boost their ethos? Today, we might call that dressing for success. One fascinating fact: Aristotle's work on rhetoric was so influential that his ideas formed the backbone of Western education for centuries. His 3 modes of persuasion, ethos, pathos, and logos, are still taught today because they work. Pathos, or emotional appeal, is something you see every day in ads. Research shows that ads using strong emotional appeals are twice as effective as those that don't. Even political speeches are often structured around Aristotle's ideas. So, when you learn rhetoric, you're tapping into a tradition that's been shaping our world for millennia. Chapter 2: Mind Tricks. The psychology behind persuasion. Rhetoric isn't just about words, it's also about understanding how people think. This is where psychology comes in. By understanding the mind, you can better persuade others. A key psychological principle in rhetoric is the confirmation bias, where people favor information that confirms their existing beliefs. Smart speakers use this by aligning their message with what the audience already believes, before gently nudging them in a new direction. Take the foot in the door technique, for example. This involves making a small request to get a person to agree to a larger one later. Studies show that if you get someone to say yes to something small, they're more likely to agree to something bigger down the line. It's a simple trick, but it's rooted in deep psychological principles. Here's another powerful concept: cognitive dissonance. This occurs when someone's beliefs and actions don't align, creating discomfort. As a speaker, you can use this to your advantage by subtly pointing out this dissonance, nudging the audience to change their beliefs or behaviors to relieve the discomfort. Remember Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech? He used cognitive dissonance brilliantly by highlighting the gap between America's ideals and its realities, pushing people toward change. Understanding these mind tricks isn't about manipulation, it's about communicating more effectively. When you know how the brain works, you can craft your message in a way that resonates deeper. In fact, studies show that using psychological principles in persuasion can increase your influence by up to 20%. So next time you speak, think about the psychology behind your words. Chapter 3: Words as Weapons. Crafting impactful language. Language is powerful. It can inspire, provoke, or even heal. But not all words are created equal. The key to impactful language lies in your choice of words and how you structure them. Mark Twain once said, "The difference between the right word and the almost right word is the difference between lightning and a lightning bug." That's how much your word choice matters. Start with metaphors. Metaphors are more than just literary devices, they're tools for making complex ideas simple. Research from cognitive linguists shows that metaphors shape how we think and act. For example, if a speaker describes a problem as a cancer, people are more likely to support aggressive solutions. But if it's described as a journey, they'll lean toward more cautious approaches. Next, consider the power of repetition. Repeating key phrases can drive your point home. Think of Winston Churchill's famous speech, "We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields." The repetition creates rhythm and reinforces the message, making it unforgettable. Studies show that people are 70% more likely to remember something if it's repeated. Then there's syntax, the arrangement of words. Short, punchy sentences are more persuasive than long-winded ones. The human brain processes shorter sentences faster, and they tend to leave a stronger impression. Also, don't underestimate the power of rhetorical questions. Asking your audience a question, even if it's rhetorical, engages them and makes them think actively about your message. Lastly, let's talk about the unexpected. Using surprising language or unusual comparisons can grab attention and make your message stick. Psychologists call this the von Riesdorf effect, where something that stands out is more likely to be remembered. So, when crafting your language, think outside the box, your audience will thank you. That wraps up the first 3 chapters. If you're finding these tips helpful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button before we dive into the next chapters. There's plenty more to explore. Chapter 4, The Silent Rhetoric, Nonverbal Persuasion. Communication isn't just about what you say, it's also about how you say it. In fact, some experts suggest that up to 93% of communication is nonverbal. That's a huge chunk of your message that's delivered without words. Your body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice all play a crucial role in how your audience perceives your message. Take eye contact, for example. Maintaining eye contact can make you seem more trustworthy and confident. Studies have shown that speakers who maintain eye contact are perceived as more credible and persuasive. But too much eye contact can be intimidating, so it's about finding the right balance. Think of it like seasoning a dish, just enough to enhance the flavor, but not so much that it overpowers everything else. Then there's your posture. Standing tall with your shoulders back conveys confidence and authority. On the flip side, slouching or crossing your arms can make you seem defensive or uninterested. Research shows that people are more likely to listen to and agree with speakers who appear confident, even if their message is the same as someone who doesn't project confidence. Gestures are another powerful tool in your nonverbal arsenal. Using your hands to emphasize points can make your message more engaging and memorable. However, the key is to keep your gestures natural and not overdone. A fascinating study found that speakers who use hand gestures are seen as more charismatic and can boost their audience's retention of the information by up to 30%. And don't forget about your tone of voice. It's not just what you say, but how you say it. Varying your pitch, volume, and pace can add emphasis and emotion to your words, making your message more impactful. A monotonous tone can put your audience to sleep, while a dynamic tone can keep them on the edge of their seat. In fact, a study by UCLA found that tone of voice can convey up to 38% of the meaning in a conversation. Nonverbal communication is like the secret sauce in your rhetoric. It's often overlooked, but when used effectively, it can significantly boost your persuasive power. So, the next time you're preparing a speech or presentation, pay attention to more than just your words. Your silent rhetoric could make all the difference. Chapter 5, Rhetoric in Action. Everyday scenarios. Decoded rhetoric isn't just for public speaking or debates, it's something you can use every day. Whether you're negotiating a raise, convincing a friend to try a new restaurant, or even persuading your kids to do their homework, rhetoric is at play. It's about using your words and actions to influence outcomes in your favor. Let's start with negotiation. In any negotiation, the way you frame your argument can make a huge difference. For instance, instead of saying, "I need a raise," you could frame it as, "Given the value I bring to the company, a raise would be a fair reflection of my contributions." This approach uses a technique known as framing, which involves presenting information in a way that influences how others perceive it. A study by the Harvard Business Review found that framing can increase the likelihood of a positive outcome by up to 30%. Next, think about persuasion in social settings. Ever tried to convince a group to do something different from what they planned? One effective strategy is to build consensus by using inclusive language. Phrases like, "We all want to have a great time, right?" or "How about we try something new together?" make others feel included and more likely to agree with your suggestion. Social proof, the idea that people follow the actions of others, can also work in your favor. If you can point out that others have enjoyed your suggestion, people are more likely to go along with it. And then there's the art of persuasion with kids. Getting children to do something they don't want to do can be challenging, but rhetoric can help. Instead of giving orders, try turning requests into choices. For example, would you like to do your homework before or after dinner? This gives them a sense of control while still guiding them toward the desired action. Research shows that when people feel they have a choice, they're more likely to comply. In everyday life, rhetoric is less about grand speeches and more about the subtle ways you influence others. By being mindful of how you frame your requests, build consensus, and offer choices, you can become more persuasive in all areas of your life. Remember, rhetoric isn't just a tool for the podium, it's a skill for everyday success. Chapter 6, Crafting Your Ethos, Building Credibility and Trust. Ethos, or credibility, is one of the most powerful tools in rhetoric. Without it, even the most eloquent speech can fall flat. People need to trust you before they'll listen to what you have to say. So, how do you build that trust? It's all about crafting your ethos. First, let's talk about expertise. To build credibility, you need to demonstrate that you know what you're talking about. This doesn't mean you have to be the world's leading expert, but you do need to show that you're knowledgeable. Sharing relevant experience, citing credible sources, or even admitting when you don't know something can actually enhance your credibility. In fact, a study from Princeton found that speakers who acknowledge gaps in their knowledge are often seen as more trustworthy. Next, consider your honesty. People trust those who are genuine and transparent. If you're caught exaggerating or being dishonest, it can damage your ethos beyond repair. A great example comes from Warren Buffett, who is known for his straightforward communication. He once said, "It takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it." Being honest and forthright, even when it's uncomfortable, is key to maintaining your credibility. Another important factor is empathy. When your audience feels that you understand and care about their needs, your ethos gets a boost. Empathy is about more than just saying the right words, it's about truly connecting with your audience's emotions. A study from Stanford University found that speakers who express empathy are more persuasive because they are seen as more relatable and trustworthy. Consistency also plays a big role in building ethos. If your actions match your words over time, people will see you as reliable. This consistency creates a strong foundation of trust. In rhetoric, ethos isn't something you can build overnight, it's developed through repeated, consistent behavior. As Aristotle pointed out, ethos is a matter of personal character, and it shines through when your audience sees that you live by your principles. Building your ethos is like constructing a house, it takes time, effort, and the right materials. But once it's built, it becomes a solid foundation for everything you say and do. So, as you develop your speaking skills, remember that trust is your greatest asset. Make sure you protect and nurture it. That's the end of this chapter, but there's more to learn. If you're finding these tips useful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay updated with the latest strategies. Your support helps me bring you even more valuable content.